Eliot in for John. Eliot, good morning, pal.
What up? How you doing today, man?
Fantastic.
Fresh off the plane from Arizona. Thought I would come back to a nice, calm Philadelphia, but as we know, it's never calm with the Eagles.
Never calm. You know, James, I like to pick on John when he's not here.
Yes.
But I actually want to pick on Eliot right out of the gate.
Excited for that.
That seems to happen when Eliot's around.
Not only is he here, I don't know that he's here enough. James, do we think he's on YouTube when he stands on the side? Like, I don't even know if he's on camera right now.
You want me to sit and hunch over like Richie does?
He says he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine?
Yeah, so your first attempt at shots at Eliot failed.
Fine, well then let's make fun of Richie.
Look, I don't do my hair like this to not be on camera, so I'm excited to be on.
I'm excited that Phil's got an exciting win yesterday. Look, everyone can weigh in on all these. Listen, a lot going on here. Again, Sixers, man, that's no joke. They're playing good. And Flyers big one tonight, but your chance at 215-592-9494. We'll get to the Jalen Hurts story in a moment. Certainly want to do a deep dive on that today. But also, let's start with the Phillies. James, what a comeback yesterday.
Yeah, they desperately. We all needed it. Sitting there staring at 2-4, losing 2 or 3 to the Nats, man. It was awesome. It does feel like it's pulling teeth to score runs with this team, which is a concern.
Which was the concern, and is the concern.
Is the concern.
Yes.
I was shocked they came back. It was awesome. They had to win that game.
For sure.
Game 6 is not a must-win game, but it felt like it in the moment.
It was big. So, look, the Phillies, of course, who scored the first run in the game but didn't give up 5 straight. 5-1 hole. We want to take your reaction, particularly if you were down there. I mean, if you were there, the feel of Citizens Bank as the Phils made that rally. Talk to us at 215-592-9494. Let's get to 3 of the key pieces of audio, big sequences in the game. Phils were down 5-1, then they make it 5-2. Then they make it 5-3. But there's 2 outs in the 9th. Sosa being, Sosa.
Last chance for the Phils here, down 5-3, the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a line drive left field, base hit. 1 run is home. Moore coming around third. The throw by Wood is not in time. The throw goes to the backstop. Runners move up 90 feet. Bohm's at third. Sosa's at second. He's tied the game. It's 5-5 in the bottom of the 9th.
So massive hit. I mean, necessary to win the game.
Also, we talked about what we love about baseball, the redemption thing, where the guy has the worst game as a Philly the other day and then gets a chance next day and comes through. Like, that's
Beautiful.
A fun thing about baseball.
Love it. And Sosa, look, I don't know any Phillies fan that doesn't love Sosa. I mean, the guy there's role players that are like your Aaron McKees and your Bobby Jones and I'm going basketball there. Guys that are like your great role players that are like great players. Then there's the lower level where you're like a decent player in your sport, but you're not great. He is as great a decent role player as there's been. Boston Scott was one of these guys, Eliot.
Yeah, well, it's funny, too. You think about last year's playoffs. It feels like the role players at the bottom of the lineup hit better than the starters did. Yeah. And then yesterday they came through again.
Yeah, so Sosa with a hit that was, to say the least, necessary. Then in the top of the 10th, as the game goes into extra innings, look, maybe they would have won if he hadn't made this play, but who knows, because it was a big spot. Dude on second, 1 out, 10th inning, and Sosa flashing the leather.
Duran with a pitch, swung on, lined, and leaping Sosa's got it, fires back to second, and Lyle is doubled off. And the Nationals do not score. How about that? Wow.
Rhea, I am such a big fan of Edmundo Sosa.
It's what he does, it's dependable.
It is.
You just kind of feel something's going to happen, especially as Eliot, as you point out, top of the order. Not so much.
Yeah, they needed the bottom.
Dependable is a good way to put it. You know what I'd also say he does more than most Philadelphia athletes? He brings joy.
He's a spark plug.
He is.
When he caught that ball,
man.
Did you notice the little shimmy he made? It was very cool.
All right,
and by the way, a 2-batter inning.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is fun.
So, fun and rare. Very rare. All right, unless it's a walk-off, obviously. To get 3 outs and 2 batters is really rare. So Sosa doing his thing. And as James pointed out, a short time after struggles earlier this week. And then, so now you get in the bottom of the 10th. You're trying to wrap it up. Will they? Will they? You betcha.
Swing and a ground ball through. It's a base hit. And Justin Crawford walks him off as the Phillies win it in 10. A rocket by Crawford past the diving Nunez into right field. And the Phillies out of the dugout to celebrate a come-from-behind extra inning win as the rookie wins it for the Phils.
So great job of the Phillies with the comeback, and obviously Crawford with the winning hit, and a good game by Crawford. He had a couple hits in there. So look, we'll take your reaction, 215-592-9494. I'll give you this one thought, and then we'll move to the Hurts topic. Obviously, the Phillies essentially ran it back. We've talked a lot about that over the last 5-6 months. But they did inject two really important pieces in Painter and Crawford, who out of the gate are showing signs of not only future long-term potential excellence, but immediate impact that makes it a somewhat different team and perhaps more of a different team
Did you feel
than some
different
thought.
when Crawford came up to the plate?
I felt confident.
So did I. I didn't feel like, oh, this is disaster here.
Well, there's no baggage with him. The other hitters go up, and you're like remembering all the other at-bats in the playoffs where they didn't come through.
And he also seems to bring joy. You know, I mean, the guy's got a great smile. He just seems like a good dude.
There's a freshness
Great
to him.
smile.
Yes,
He really does.
Great smile. So anyway.
And he's so composed.
Totally. So you can react on the Phillies front. What was really, I mean, the most exciting win so far this year. So 215-592-9494. Whether you listen to it, watched it on TV, or were there, talk to us on the certainly yesterday Fightin' Phils show and resolve with the comeback. All right, let's get to the Eagles. Let's get to Jalen Hurts. Eliot, it was a big article that came out yesterday. ESPN's Tim McManus, who you know well, I know well, does an excellent job, has for many years, puts together a piece about Jalen Hurts. Some see it as a hit piece. I don't think that's a fair characterization. Obviously, there were elements that he was critical. And using sourced, aspects, anonymous oftentimes. And then there were elements that were complimentary. I thought in that way it was balanced, but clearly there were people in the NovaCare complex that have concerns about Jalen. And so it's a deep dive on Jalen Hurts entering what I think is going to be a very pivotal year for him. So let's get into it today at 215-592-9494. Get everyone's assessment of what you make of the Hurts article and what it means moving forward. Eliot, floor is yours first. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's fun. I feel like you can view this article in two ways. There's the past and there's the future. And I think the stuff in there about the past is not surprising to me. Someone that's down there at the NovaCare or the Jefferson Training Complex now, it's not surprising to see any of that stuff in there, right? Like, these are the things that Jalen has struggled with. Jalen likes to run the offense a certain way. Jalen has strengths and weaknesses to his game. Jalen is an entity within himself in some ways, right? I think he's one of the only players maybe in franchise history that you could argue is like bigger than the Eagles, right? Like, he is a huge superstar. So the stuff about that did not surprise me. But what concerns me about it more is the future aspect of this. You read the article, and basically Jalen's thing he does not want to do, according to the article, right? Play under center. Now, if they work on it all offseason, maybe he'll be more willing to do it. They touch on that in the story. Maybe we'll see. But the new offense is predicated on him being under center. They are also putting the offense. The offensive coordinator is a 33-year-old who's coached for 2 years that was a backup quarterback. In the article, it talks about how Jalen needs tough voices around him, and he has to respect the voices around him. So the past stuff, I'm sure we'll get into it, but for me, the concern is the future. If they're going to be better next year, is going to an offense Jalen doesn't like, led by a coordinator that is not Nick Saban, is not Mike McDaniel, Brian Dable in terms of an authoritative voice. That's my concern from the article.
Look, there's a ton in it, and we're gonna read you quite a bit as we move through the show, and certainly elicit your thoughts on what it all represents at 215-592-9494. I mean, clearly, Eliot, you touch on a point that I think we're all pretty familiar with. He has a style of offense born out of how he played high school football, college football, and the first many years of pro football, which many quarterbacks play now. In the shotgun, very comfortable and very quality at the ride and decide element of football. Mm-hmm. Very quality. Now, when he runs less, his quality then tapers down because it doesn't have the same impact. So it matters a great deal to run. We've been through that a million times. They're going to try to evolve. They should try to evolve. The reality is it was a disaster that the offense with that talent and that payroll was that bad. I mean, it was a below-average offense with well above average talent. Now, obviously, the offensive line struggled. We all know that. To the point you just referenced, and again, 215-592-9494 for everyone to weigh in, your assessment of what you think was in here and what it means. To the point you just said, Eliot, here's one passage from the article. It says, talking about Jalen, he has pushed back on changes that would diversify the scheme, sources said, including when it comes to him going under center more. He has shown a reluctance to let it rip at times, particularly against zone coverage. He diverts from the game plan and changes play calls to what some feel is an excessive degree. What wasn't said in that passage, but what I think is implied at times, and my eyes have noticed it. Look, I don't care if a quarterback changes the plays 100 times. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I say 100, I mean 100%.
Like, the best quarterbacks do change plays
it a ton. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if any quarterback ever changed it more than Peyton Manning. I don't know, but we all could see up there, Omaha!
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah. Like, he's changing it all the time. The key, if you do that, you got to do it well. Mm-hmm. You got to do it well. And so, one of my concerns for a while here has been that Jay did before the article yesterday, but I believe it more now, that the 2026 season is he better play better or much better, or he'll be gone. Like an article like this, Eliot, when there are that many people that comment on the record, although anonymously, it speaks to me that there is a large faction in the NovaCare complex. I still call it that.
Well, it was a NovaCare during this, to be fair, yeah.
A large faction is really aggravated with Jalen. They want it to work, but if it does not improve and he doesn't improve, there's a legit chance 26 is his last season here. That's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, so he has the biggest fan in the building in Jeffrey Lurie, right? So that matters, sure, obviously. And if I'm Jalen, I'm calling Jeffrey today and saying, I don't want to, the prove it year you talk about, let's make this work contractually where I don't have to deal with more of these articles saying people in the building don't trust me. This is a prove it year for Jalen. Jeffrey loves Jalen as much as he says he does, and I believe it. I was there in Arizona when he talked about it. Yeah. Put it into action. Jalen deserves a new contract. And so I think if I'm Jalen, my takeaway from this article is pay me or let's admit you don't want me as the quarterback.
Okay. I would not do that if I'm the Eagles. I would ask for that if I'm Hurts and his agent, and if I'm the Birds, I'm like, no. Go play better, bud. 215-592-9494. If you've read it, react. If you haven't, obviously stick with us as well, as we'll read good chunks of it to you through the day. Take your reaction on an impressive Sixers win last night and a really fun Phillies comeback yesterday.
The Wizards, Joe.
But they scored 197 points.
But it was also Paul George, to be fair.
The Wizards gave up 83 points to Bam. What are we talking? The Wizards are the team that gives up points.
What was it, 157?
It was
153.
153.
Yeah, and then they
almost broke the record again.
I'm just saying impressive in that. I mean, you score 153.
Sure. The Wizards are so bad.
So it's sort of like the Hammer versus Fritz?
No, I mean, Fritz is nowhere close to as bad as the Wizards.
Can't wait for 4 hours of that.
215-592-9494. Your chance to weigh in on all of it. Joe DeCamara, Eliot in for John on 94 WIP.